What's going on, Podcast Nation? Your host, Nick Overby here of the New Agent Podcast, joined by my wonderful colleague and friend, Elizabeth Annis.
Hey, guys.
Hello, darling. Hold on. Stop. What's
I
up,
came for
friend?
the claps.
Do what?
Not the clap, but the claps.
You literally, I was like,
And I started already.
Wait, hold on. Here we go. Is it? Well, as the post said, it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here. So, in the realest of senses, this conversation will be fun because starting from day one, which ironically, today is my
Your
anniversary, which is cool. So, for those of you that don't know, we're in the den, right? The Lion's Den. Elizabeth has been here for how long?
Almost 2 years.
Almost.
In November, it'll be 2 years.
Man, that's crazy to think.
Yeah, it really is.
2 years.
Doesn't feel like 2 years. Goes by fast when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, my first year has been nothing short but crazy in so many ways. And I have been super blessed to be surrounded by arguably the most amazing group of humans to go through the trials, tribulations, successes, and failures that myself and that everybody else has gone through.
The roller coaster of life.
So I'm going to let these two guys leave. And then I want to talk to you real quick about Elizabeth Annis and Elizabeth Lunsford, as a lot of us know, because you've been mentioned on this show. People have talked about you. Yeah. So let's give some context real quick. So I told you I have a little couple of questions here, right?
Okay.
It's pretty much simple stuff. So so first off, New Agent Podcast, Agent Spotlight series, if you're just catching up, is where I talk to a different agent in the den, right? This is our home. This is where I make my money each week to give a particular insight into new agents in the insurance business specifically, but also in sales and in life. So we're talking to you because you have a particular skill set in the fact that you basically run this fucking office from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Explain that.
How I run it behind the scenes?
Well, shit. I mean, let's just start from the fucking beginning. Where you from? Who are you?
Oh, well, I'm Elizabeth Annis. I'm married to the man of my dreams, Josh. I'm just going to give him a little shout out. Hey, baby.
Oh, please plug him. What does he do, by the way? We need to talk about his business too.
He works for Tarrant Roofing. It's awesome. They're good people. They treat him right, and he loves his job.
And he's a damn good father.
He's an amazing father, probably even more amazing husband. He treats me better than I treat myself, which is, good and bad all at the same time. He's great. He's everything I wanted, plus a trillion things more. So, but yeah, so I have the last name Annis now, or Anus, because I act like an ass sometimes.
Would you spell that out loud for us, please?
Annis. Anyways, yeah, and I have 2 kids, an 18-year-old and a 7-year-old. So definitely 2 different people, but also the same person at once. They both have the same needs. One just drives.
One just graduated high school.
Yeah, that was
He's now paying his own bills.
Yeah.
Well, somewhat.
He's doing a good job. I'm proud of him so far.
Does he still have health insurance?
He does still have health insurance. He pays his health insurance and his car insurance.
Give a shout out to your boy there.
Yeah, he's acting like a grown-up. Mama raised him right. What?
Shit, he did something right. He made it to 18.
Yeah.
He got out. Now it's all up to him. Here we go.
Yes, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job about that.
You are doing.
I thought I was going to be bad though.
I mean, from what I've seen, you've had your, your breakdowns. That's acceptable.
Part of being a mom.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a parent. I mean, I'm not as compassionate as you are, but I get that.
It was just him and I for a very, very, very long time. So it's hard to not have that want to do more for him, even though he doesn't need it. So I'm trying hard to not give him the stuff that he wants and to provide for him in a way I shouldn't be anymore, because he's always been around. He's always been my one consistent thing in the last 18 years. So,
well, that spawns me to say something.
Okay.
Because in my year, and I think really in my 9 months of, side-by-side interaction with you, even more so, I have learned a lot about myself from you. Okay. And so I think from my perspective, the material things ain't shit, because like I posted today, like I've always said, that this place has made me a better person. Okay. And it's because of people like you. And that, I think, is more important than giving him the material things. You know what? I know you
Yeah.
know this,
Yeah.
but he's a damn good kid.
No, he's a wonderful kid.
And that's what's important, right?
My biggest complaint is that he speeds. I mean, other than that, he's a respectful, kind. We have rules in my house, 3 things that we try to follow, and that I try to raise my kids. There's only 3 things: love, respect, and kindness. And I feel like if you can have those 3 things in life, you will have all the things in life, whatever you want, whatever you seek. Love, respect, kindness shows integrity to me. And I feel like if you have integrity, you can do anything you want. So I've tried to instill that into both the kids.
So I'm 36 years old and I've been in sales organizations, and the word integrity, I think, is kind of loosely tossed around. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
What is your what do you define as integrity?
Being honest. I mean, integrity is like I said, love, respect, kindness. And that's being honest with yourself, honest with other people, honest with your job, your school. To me, that is my definition, I guess, of integrity.
Okay. So let's fast forward. I'm sorry, rewind 20 years. Where
Oh.
are we 20, where are we 20 years ago?
20 years ago. Oh, man, I was clubbing and shaking my ass at every club possible 20 years ago.
In the tri-state area.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I enjoyed dancing, and I was married 20 years ago. Yeah, I was married 20 years ago. I was married to my oldest son's father. Actually, I guess I wasn't out really clubbing then. I was pregnant 20 years ago. No, I was getting married 20 years ago. Yeah, sorry. He's only 18. So I was with his dad, dating. We were out clubbing, yeah, for sure. Shaking my ass on him. That's how I got pregnant.
How you think we got here? I mean, I always tell people is like, the reason that I don't have any more children is because I don't have sex.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I was out just having a good time, living life, doing stupid stuff like every other person at 20 was. Because I'll be 40 in a month or a month and a half, something like that. So I was 20. I was doing all the stupid stuff that you're supposed to do.
So so tell us the interim. What have you done since then? I mean, obviously we're going to talk about why we're here, but I want to know more about, so got pregnant, and then what were you doing then? You got pregnant, you got to figure out, life, what am I going to do with myself? I got a kid.
With Christopher?
Yes.
So I got pregnant at 21, got married at 21, got divorced 4 years later. And it was just me and Christopher, like I said, for 11 and a half years, something like that.
So no booty shaking in the club.
I mean,
Very minimal.
when I was able to get a break, absolutely, there was booty shaking in the club. I mean, I like to dance. I like to sing. I like to act a fool. I like to have a good time like everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
But it was mostly just me and him. My brother Perry lived in a house across the street from me. He actually bought the house across the street to help me out as a single parent. I wouldn't be here, number one, for Perry, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Perry. He really, he's an amazing person. I mean, I know you already know that. I'm sure, hopefully, a lot of people out there, know that. But he helped me be a better mom for Christopher. He helped, like I said, he bought a house so he could control rent and help me with that. I mean, he's just really, stuck it out so I could be a mom. I was a teacher for a little while, shoot. I was a teacher for 12 years. He, basically he let me do that so I could be there for my kid when he got on the bus and be there for my kid when he got off the bus. And I didn't have to go get a second job or anything like that because he was able to help me do things that most single moms don't get to do with their kid. So
absolutely.
He's amazing. He helped me. He really is one of the reasons why I was able to be the mom that I was to Christopher, and why Christopher's such a good kid. Him and my dad lived just next door to him, and my mom, and the whole family did. And it takes a village to raise a kid.
Hell yeah.
Christopher is definitely he's definitely truth when it comes to that. It does take a village, and
You've got a hell of a village.
I do. I have an amazing village, and even bigger now that it's in, because everybody's family here. I know if I needed something from anybody here, I just have to call. Mostly because I would do the exact same thing for anybody here. So
Okay, so this is my segue.
oh, shit.
All right, so I started a year ago. It took me all of what, like 6 to 8 weeks to infiltrate the Facebook team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not long.
So let's start there, because the reason why I think this podcast will be more interesting and more entertaining than most is because let's just like Anna, right? Anna and I have a personal relationship.
Mhm.
You and I have a love-hate relationship.
Personal conflict.
Mhm. But here's the thing, though, is that I think because of that, we've had conversations like we had in the parking lot that one day where I'll be the first person to tell you, like, I generally feel like I have really good intentions, but I'm fucking stupid. And
I'll give you that.
yes, but you, Elizabeth, had a specific way of adapting to me on your own terms, which by proxy allowed me to learn a lot about myself. And then our friendship, I think, has blossomed.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because I know at the Christmas party, you didn't want anything to do with me, and now you're on my podcast.
Hell yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So that short story leads me back to the original question. I'd like to hear your take on that, on how you learned to like me a little bit.
I mean, absolutely. So I didn't like you at first because I didn't trust you.
Yep.
When we had that conversation.
Mhm.
I think everybody in general in life has trust issues. Sometimes I have a little bit more. And I mean, I think that just comes from being a single mom for a long time, or, whatever it is. You said a few things that rubbed me the wrong way. And I mean, a lot of people do. But and I think at first I wasn't as vocal with you about those reasons. And, and we talked about that in the parking lot, like, honesty. I didn't show you honesty by being vocal with you about how I felt. But really what came to me, having that respect for you that I didn't have in the beginning, or trust, was when I could see you being vulnerably honest with me about stuff. I mean, you were open and you were honest. And I think I was able to be vulnerable back with you and honest back with you. And I think that essentially opened up our relationship in a little bit more. We were able to tease and me not roll my eyes every 5 seconds when you were around.
The reason I ask is because the foundation of this podcast has been about my journey, and my journey has many different components, and it's about learning who I am, or about who I am and how I do certain things. And sometimes I just don't know. Right. And so that's the foundation for the question, because like I mentioned earlier, and I'll tell you all the time, you're a huge component. You and 4 other women in this building have had huge impacts on my life in monumental ways that will forever impact my son and who I am as a father. So I think it's important to document that, because it shows the true dynamic of a culture that has been built and that we maintain because of the vulnerability.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about vulnerability real quick. In the past couple of days, you have been vulnerable. And I mean, I'm pretty sure, for lack of a better term, the proof is in the pudding, right? You made adjustments in ways that you knew you needed to. And I'm talking about from a sales standpoint for you guys who are curious. So
yes,
let's talk about that for a second, because you've been here for 2 years, right? You are a huge, look at a machine, you're a huge cog in the way that this whole machine works. And it has to, without you, it would not be done as efficiently. That's without a doubt. I know that internally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shit, dude, kind of lost my train of thought, but like, how do you manage all this? Like, how?
Just like you manage a household as a single mom, you deal with it. You just do. Sometimes you just have to do, even when you don't want to fucking do.
Well, this is your household.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Essentially, it is. And I want to see everybody succeed. And I think when I first started doing this, that was part of the problem with me not succeeding, is I was so worried about everybody else succeeding.
Mhm.
It was a huge problem. I pass out leads. I don't, for everybody that doesn't know, basically I hand out the leads, and I was handing them out and not giving myself what I should have in order to survive, because I wanted to make sure that everybody else survived. I was seeing everybody.
So you guys know, when she says passing out the leads, not to interrupt you. So you guys know Perry Lunsford and the healthy insurance dude. This is the house, right? And for whatever you guys don't know,
this is the house that Perry built.
Well,
Just kidding.
Perry is the captain of this very large ship we call the Lionston,
Yes.
and we are the culture, right?
Mhm.
You and me. This conversation that we're having allows us to have a culture like this. The guy's sitting over there, making cold calls at 6:35 at night without doing it in the sleazy way. That's the culture here that Perry has built. But at the same time, you also have to make your own money. Okay.
Right.
So let's go back to that, because that was where I lost my train of thought
Yeah.
on you changing the course. So from a sales standpoint, this is important, because this is at the end of the day, a podcast about sales too.
Yeah.
And sales is new to you 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, I would even say 1 year ago. I didn't really start trying until about a year ago.
And then you started tightening the fuck up.
Yeah. And then I got
Put up
really, really
15K
good.
yesterday.
And then I got, yeah. And then I got really good. And then somehow my, last week I was pulled aside. My sales pitch, do we call it a pitch in this? Okay. My pitch was off, and somehow it evolved into something that wasn't necessarily right.
It wasn't a pitch at all.
No, it wasn't a right pitch. It was wrong. The words I was using, even though they made sense to me, wouldn't make sense to somebody else. And I didn't realize that. I just got I got comfortable, I think is really a good way to say it. I got comfortable with where I was, and I got pulled aside, and I was like, you were doing this all wrong and you're lying to people. And I was like, what? And then I had to call a whole bunch of people and say, so I know I said this, let me clarify. And they were very appreciative. I was appreciative of getting told that I was wrong, and I corrected my mistake. And I feel like since then it's better. I feel more confident in everything too now. It'd been a while since I had been pulled aside to talk about how I talk to people.
How'd
And
that piece of humble pie taste?
like shit. No, it was
Mhm.
great. It's great. Actually, I went around and pitched to everybody in the office until I sounded awesome, and now I'm sounding like a badass. And I mean, that's proof, and as in how yesterday ended up. But yeah, it was rough at first, but it was much needed and much appreciated for sure.
So
And just throw out, I think it's great that some of the new people come in and see somebody that's been here for a while
yeah,
mess up.
you got to
I think it
readjust, man.
helps. Yeah, I think it really helps people that are new to this kind of industry to see, like, okay, she's been here a while and she's still messed up. So it's okay if I, that I do this in front of people, so that way I don't mess up, or that I do mess up and we can fix it. We can make corrections. We can talk. We can be kind. We can help others.
Well, to your point, you had to readjust your wording, because inevitably it is as severe as what you say to people adjusts their expectation. And if they go and use the policy that you sold them based on expectation Y, but unfortunately the reality is Z,
Yeah.
you're liable for that. And I mean, that's an ethics thing.
Yeah.
And that's just the hard fact of it. But what's more important is that you were able to take the criticism and do something with it and make it better. And not only are you a better person for it, but you're making a little bit more money because of
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. It was, one word can change everything in this industry. I don't think people realize that either.
Yeah.
I really don't think people realize, because I didn't. Like, literally one word can change everything. And if you don't think about that, I mean, you can really screw yourself, but besides that, who cares about yourself? You could screw a family over, and that's sad. And I mean, that's why I was crying. It wasn't because I messed up my script and I probably lost a few deals from it. I was crying because I ultimately lied to people. And like I said, I went and called every single one of them and said, hey, this one word, and I just want to make sure. And they were all like, they were super thankful for me calling, but they were all like, I have the brochure in front of me. I know what you meant. And I was like, yeah, that still doesn't make it okay. It really doesn't.
what I respect more about that is the humanization of what you've done. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Does that make sense?
No, I mean, what do you mean?
So people talk to us through a digital medium, right? There is no personal interaction, right? Today I went and I put a policy, or I sold a policy, and literally took me 11 minutes. You know that my record of time is way more
2
than
hours.
But where I'm going with this is that you have the ability to humanize yourself, and people respect that. And that's why this podcast is important to me, because as I've learned, people don't like us. And I say us, I say insurance salesmen.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we're looked at as the sleazy, let's sell you, a $5,000 car for 10 grand and whatever it is. And so you have a deep connection with what we embody. Okay. I've told Perry, and I will not talk about Perry much, but you are Perry's sister. Okay. Yeah. So I talk about culture here. You are embodied in this culture, which leads me to ask this question to you. What does the den mean? And what does the culture of the den mean to you?
Oh, what is the culture? I mean, I don't really know how to.
So for me, I'll give you an example. I feel like when I walk in these doors, my guard is let down, because this is a place where I can be myself. So the culture of the den to me is
Home.
Yeah, pride, family. So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I guess it would be home. I mean, like I said, anything for anybody here. I think the culture is family. It's caring about people, and sometimes doing things for people like in this room that you don't always want to do. It's unconditional love. That's it. That's what it is. It's unconditional love. I would do anything for anybody here. Even you on our rough days. It's unconditional love. I know you felt it. This group of people they're family that I get to choose. I would, Victoria, Samaria, Anna, Jamie, Tasha. I mean, not just the girls, there are boys there too. The list goes on. I mean, the whole den, I would, at a drop of a hat, if anybody needed me, I think, if I would stop and do it. If I wasn't involved with my kids for any reason, I would stop whatever I'm doing and have that unconditional love and do whatever they needed. And I think that's what the allure of this office is. When people walk in and they say culture, I think it's the unconditional love and support. And I mean, you can have a shit week and people are still like, you did good. You talked on the phone great. You sounded good. And I'm like, I did a shit week. What are you talking about?
It's always a silver lining.
There's always a silver. And even our Friday meetings where you do throw people in the bucket. I mean, there'll be people that haven't done anything for a while, but we're still putting them in the bucket for just how they sound or just the positivity they bring to the den. Mm-hmm. It is an unconditional love. And that's something else I brought to my children. Unconditional love. Sometimes you do things for people you love that you don't want to do. A lot of times. But it's an unconditional love that makes everything in here work beautifully.
I love it. I mean, hell, I'll never forget the day walking around that little corner right there. And just
who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I mean, it embodies love, right? It embodies self-empowerment,
spirit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just passion, the energy that, like you said, whether you're having a bad day or a good day. Is it raining outside? Holy shit, it is.
It is.
Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, there's always someone here. And the fact that it's kind of cool. I'm going to shout out my boy Michael here. I can bring somebody in who's in the business, who just wants to see the culture, right? And see how we do things.
Hey, Michael.
Hey. But it's cool that we have the ability to do so, right? It's empowered. That's what we're built on. So something I've always been kind of curious about, which I don't think I've ever asked you. Well, no, I have. I mean, I remember going to get food one day. I think it was at Torchy's Tacos, and you were talking about what you want to do after insurance. And you talked about some of your passions. food truck I know as well. I think
That's
that was more Josh, but
Yeah.
you have an interesting one when it comes to the farm aspect. So I think it's cool to, let's talk about humanization. You don't just sell health insurance. You are an amazing woman and you have traits about you that I think people need to know. So I want to know about this.
So long story short, before Chance came along, I actually wanted to foster children once I didn't have any in the house. And then Chance came along unexpectedly. And
club shaking, booty shaking, nice.
That a booty shaking? No, that's because my husband's real easy. No, no. So I eventually would like to. He is really easy. I am too, though. I would like to own a little farm and raise alpacas. Sounds crazy, but alpaca fur is actually it's a very expensive fur. And then that's I sound like a crazy person. But anyways, there's a threading machine that you can do to get it to turn it into thread. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. But I would like to send it to third world countries. And
sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. It's just I always feel so silly saying it because people are like alpaca farm.
But here's the thing, though, is that's you. And that's okay, because that's the one thing I've learned here.
Is it's okay to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but so I just want to send it to these third world countries. I've had a beer. And so I have an associate that she teaches women how to be entrepreneurs. She helps them get phones and set up online stuff, and even does it in town, in touristy places. She does a lot of different stuff, but to thread this and let them teach them how to become entrepreneurs with this thread, this fur, and sell it and become their own. So we basically would just be donating the fur and going from there. It's a long process. It'd be something that, again, we're looking at another 5-10 years before anything like that happens. But that's why I want to teach women how to be entrepreneurs.
5 years from now.
Okay. Well, there you go. 5-10 years. But I would like to eventually teach women help women. I wouldn't teach them, but help women become entrepreneurs.
So that was something I wanted to talk about tonight too. I've always mentioned that women have a huge impact in my life. Not to say that anything negative. My father was a great man, but I was raised around 2 sisters and a mother. And it's kind of ironic to me that I have been raised, in a sense, by some women in this office, including you.
Got some strong women here, so I'd be surprised if they didn't help.
I've only got, so technically I've got one left, which is Samaria. She just is reluctant to get on this. I do have recording with Victoria, but it's something I'll not use just because the context wasn't great. So we'll redo that. But I've got 3 down right now, which is you, Anna, Jamie, and Anna. Oh, Anna. Yep. So I've got 2 more. And that's not to exclude anybody in this office. It's just
we've been here since the beginning. Yeah, it's acceptable.
I like to consider myself a bit of an OG in a sense, but yeah. I still have some. Anyways, I'm rambling. The reason why I bring that up is because I think that it is important for my audience to know, the people that you might share this with, to know that women in sales have a huge they play a huge part. I'd like for you to maybe touch on that a little bit within this office, and maybe what you see as how women have an impact in sales, because our leaders are women here.
That's rough without having to bash you, Mel's, but
no, it's okay. That's okay.
We actually had a conversation today with another fellow agent. I think I just can. Women put themselves in other people's positions way easier, other people's shoes, whatever. A lot smoother, I think, than males do. And that's not saying that the fellows of the den can't do that, but I think I'm just able to, I'm always trying to see the other side of everything. And I think that one, it helps me to develop relationships, because even if I haven't anybody I've talked to for insurance in any way or health coverage for any way, shape, or form, I've become friends with. Like we're on Facebook together, or we text, or and we send pictures of sunsets to each other, which is we do. Like it's weird. Now I have a client that I was like, I bet you have a beautiful sunset where you're at. She sent me a picture that night, and now if I have a pretty sunset, I send it to her. And
lifelong connections.
yes, well, and I get flowers from a client who was having a hard day, and I just sat on the phone a little bit longer with her than I normally would, but she needed to talk, so I listened. Like I knew she needed to talk. I listened. The flowers I get here. Stacy, hey.
There's this picture of a woman laying on her driveway while it's pouring rain, and it's a video.
And somebody comes, stops, and just does lays. Yeah, no, I totally would. I would, and I wouldn't even think about like what person is laying there and why. I probably would just go do it. I've said the same. I've seen the video, and I'm like, oh my god, is that me?
But I mean, like in the sense that you're the first person, at least in my experience, to act, right? And that's in that sense jump in the rain, but in the sense with me I can relate because you call me out on things, and that's important for me. And that's
called you out on things that I think that you needed to be called out on.
It's important. Sometimes
you didn't know though.
Well, and then sometimes you could have just waited a minute and then let me get back in the office before you started yelling about me.
You catch me on there's a certain week out of the month, Nick.
I know
you know that week.
I know better. So I know that the clock there says 11. I forgot to start a few minutes early. So I'm just guessing that we're right at about 40 minutes. And I would like to respect your time and ours. So absolutely. At this point, it's a shameless plug, right? I will put your link to whatever, any way somebody can contact you for health insurance, because at the end of the day, people like me, but they probably like you in a different way. And so if anybody's watching this is keen to you and not me, that's okay. So shameless plug, where do they go? Where do I need to put it? And how do we get a hold of you?
I'm super slow at this because I work the Facebook team, so I'm not very great, but Facebook health, letter E coverage. You can find me on Facebook.
LinkedIn.
Elizabeth Annis.
There you go. Instagram.
Oh, I don't.
At the something Elizabeth.
It's Elizabeth. Because I am a lot. It just has always been a me. I don't know. I was like.
Actually worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Email address, phone number, anything you want to shout out? Or you want to keep it private?
817-852-9821. Oh, I touched it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No,
I touched your mic. 817-852-9821. Elizabeth, got you.
Anything else that you, as far as wisdom goes, you would like to share to maybe somebody new, old, in the middle of their journey in sales or health insurance or insurance in general?
I do. Absolutely. Listen. Definitely listen to everything around you. Listen to what people say. But be you. I don't like but. However, because but negates everything I just said. Listen and be you. Listen to what they have to say and make it your own. I struggled with that a lot at the beginning. I wanted to be Perry. I'm never going to be Perry. He's very charismatic and like just in your face. I'm not that person, not really. And I tried really hard to be him. But listen to what everybody says and then make it you. That's my advice.
I love it.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for giving up your time, because first and foremost, you're a mother.
Yeah.
And right now you're not with your child and your husband. So go hurry to them. Thank you so much for your time again. And I will send you the link.
All right.
Check it out.
Super excited.
Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Cheers.